Ezra Klein is a writer for Vox, which is the news explainer site that gets almost everything wrong. So, it's funny from the very beginning. Ezra thinks he's all that, and he really isn't. But anyway, he's tweeting about Marco Rubio, and his little tweet, which was an advertisement for his article. Here's what Marco Rubio Tostada on taxes, Medicare, marijuana, same-sex marriage, and more. And absolutely, the conservative Twitter sphere just jumped on it. That's not what you meant to. That's not your real introduction, and really jumping on all sorts of food-related mistakes, because it was clearly a voice to text error, because he said, here's where Marco Rubio stands, or what he said, or whatever it was, but it came out Tostada. And it's one of those things. It was a classic example to me of how the way the left approach would be totally different, but our approach, which was immediate and organic, and we didn't have to coordinate and make any kind of effort at it, we all laughed and we all made fun of it, and we're teasing Ezra Klein, and we're making fun of Vox, and we're making jokes on our own and having a great time with it. But at the same time, we know that our opponents over on the other side would not have made a joke, and they have not made jokes when the same thing happens. If this had been Chris Wallace saying it about Sonia Sotomayor, just imagine, pause for a moment and imagine Chris Wallace tweeting out what Sonia Sotomayor Tostada about a particular case. That would be an instant reaction from the left activists who are in the media as proof positive that the GOP is racist underneath. We're like closet racists. We really are inherently racist, and sometimes it comes out in honesty, and we can't hide it anymore. And every single candidate would be forced to respond. How do you respond to Chris Wallace's obvious blatant racism about Sonia Sotomayor? Are you a racist like he is? And we know that that's the case because the left is always looking for an opportunity to attack. They are always looking for anything that they can use as a weapon. They don't allow for they absolutely would understand that it was not a racism indicator. They would absolutely understand that it was a typo or a voice-to-text autocorrect error. They absolutely know that. They're not stupid. But they would immediately, and without even having to coordinate amongst themselves, they would all at the same time seize upon that as a weapon to use against us, and they would be successful. This is the enemy we face.
In fact, Chris Hayes has already called for some serious repercussions with Fox News just because you cited Chris Wallace as an example. They're already. It's out there,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's done.
As a victory for the right, making fun of and having a joke at Ezra Klein's expense, it's a bit of camaraderie and inside baseball, having fun with the Twitter conservative activists. Very limited audience. It's a very minor thing. It's a 1 or 2 day giggle haha, and it affects nothing long term. That's the way we do on these things. But had it been Chris Wallace saying Tostada about Sonia Sotomayor, it would have been on CNN, it would have been on MSNBC, it would have been in the AP, it would be articles on KHOU, it would be articles on the Chronicle. We would see it on ABC, NBC, and CBS. They would all report on it. Their first story would be, oh, haha, look at this little joke.
An interesting...
But it's a more serious issue that we need to look into more deeply, and we know it.
Interesting, and you mentioned Sonia Sotomayor, who purposefully singled out white men as the ones who are less likely to arrive at a wise decision than Latina women.
Crickets.
You're talking about somebody who purposefully said something that is dramatically racist, absolutely racist, undeniably racist, fully racist. And she gets a pass, and they don't mention it. And you're right, they would jump all over Chris Wallace for making one comment, which, by the way, he was responding to somebody else, making a comment about Clarkson's weight. And he was prodded into doing it. But yeah,
Right,
it's
but that becomes a national story that everybody hears about. Our stuff, when we do it on their side, it stays very local. And then they're going to either take naked pictures of me, or they're going to pat me down and get all up in my business with their blue gloved hands. And I don't let people I know touch me like that, and so why would I allow a stranger to do that in public? And I'm not supposed to be nervous about that.